I've played guitar now for over 30 years, and during that time I've had some moments of absolute joy and some moments of regret. Hopefully you'll learn from these and be inspired from these. Hello and welcome to another video with me, Elmo J. Karjalainen. It's good to have you along. Today I'm talking about 5 moments of joy during my musical career and 5 moments of regret to balance things out. The meaning or the purpose of this video is actually twofold, because I aim to inspire and to help on this channel. The joys are meant to inspire you because most people are capable of so much more than they think if they just set their mind to it. And if I could do these things, you can aim high. And then to help and these moments of regret, I hope you can learn something from these. So let's get going. Oh yes, and before we get going, sorry. Do check out my Patreon, there's a link in the description. You can get access to my Guitar Academy there, you get all of my music, a bunch of exclusives, and you can even take that stuff for free. If you don't like it, you don't have to pay. So, there's that. Now, let's get to these. First, we'll do alternately. 1 joy, 1 regret, and so on. The first moment of absolute joy, which was something I actually didn't really think I would ever do, but I dreamt of it as a young kid. I got to meet my all-time hero, Yngwie Malmsteen. And that's not all. This was in 2016. I entered his Guitar Gods competition and made it to the final, which was in Miami. It's great going to Miami from Finland in February, because in Finland it's dreary and cold and dark and horrible. Everything is terrible. And Miami, well, it's not dreary. It was sunny and nice. But I got to meet Yngwie. The thing was that a friend of mine who also partook in that competition, Janne Nieminen, came and asked me, do you have a pen or a marker? Because Yngwie's going to sign my guitar. And I said, yes, I do, but I'm coming with you because I want to meet Yngwie. So I went with Janne. Yngwie looked at me, and he's a big guy, so he looked slightly down on me. He looked at me and said, you're very good. And I was like, I became a giggling schoolgirl. I almost wet myself. Almost. Because he had looked through the submissions and he checked out my video. Yeah, I mean, even now thinking back to it makes me excited. I mean, it's absolutely brilliant. Okay, next one is regret number 1. I used to play in a band called Death Like Silence, and it was great. We had some success. We had a couple of albums in the charts, and it's not as big a deal as you might think in Finland. And we had a radio hit, and we played shows, and it was great. And then it wasn't great. And my biggest kind of regret is that I overstayed my welcome, or well, I overstayed in the band because the writing was on the wall. I just refused to see it. I should have gotten out of that band way earlier and done something else, done something with my musical career. Without getting into too much detail, because I don't want to, even at this point, I don't want to speak bad of anyone. But we had a few creative differences and some stubborn personalities, shall we say, and I should have realized this will never, ever work. So at the same time, to all those people who ask me, occasionally people ask me, what's up with Death Like Silence, will you ever get back together? I can officially say, not with me at least. So yeah, I overstayed my welcome, probably partly because we had some success and I was kind of clinging on to something. This will become even bigger or something, and yeah, that was not good. Joy number 2, playing with Steve Vai. Yeah, I got to play with Steve Vai. He did a clinic in Espoo near Helsinki, the Finnish capital. And yeah, I got to play with him, jam with him during that clinic. I'd never actually thought that I would stand on stage with Steve Vai. I mean, I remember as a teenager practicing For the Love of God endlessly, so much so that my parents absolutely hate that song these days. And I got to play with Steve Vai. It was brilliant. I mean, he's such a great guitar player and a nice guy as well. So, yeah, that time in Espoon Sellosali, I think it was. Yeah, I'll never forget that. Okay, regret number 2. Losing sight of my goals. This was somehow kind of in the same time as with Death Like Silence. I studied philosophy, which I don't regret that, but I do regret that I didn't work harder during that period. I took it quite easily back then. I was quite lazy. I work too much now. But I wish I'd worked a bit more back then on my musical, because it's not just playing guitar, you need to know so much more than that. And at that time, I basically just played guitar, and that's something I regret a bit. I didn't really develop myself in the way that I should have back in those days. But yeah, that's a bit of a regret. So try to keep sight of your goals and try to keep improving. Number 3, Age of Heroes. Yes, that's one of my albums, and I'm extremely proud of all of my albums, really. But that one in particular, nice moments of it on it. But the thing that really is so brilliant for me about it is I managed to get Mattias Ia Eklund and Derek Sherinian to play on the record. Now, Mattias Ia Eklund, if you don't know him, check him out. He's absolutely brilliant. He played 2 solos on the album, and I remember listening back to those solos. So we're going to trade solos in 2 songs, and realizing I need to up my game because this guy is just so good. And you can get this album on my Patreon, or you can check it out on Spotify. And then I listened back to what Derek Sherinian sent me, and I've been listening to Derek quite a lot. I have his CDs. I actually still have CDs in my CD thingamajig. What's it called? Bookshelf thing. And I listened to his keyboard playing, and it's so Derek, and I was like, yeah, I'm playing with one of my heroes. Such a buzz. Really great stuff. Yeah, brilliant moments. Number 3 in the regrets department, not moving. This is roughly 10, 11 years ago. Me and my now wife, then girlfriend, we'd already agreed that I would move to Helsinki, the Finnish capital, on a part-time basis to further my musical career, because I live in a town called Turku, and there's nothing here musically. Everyone seems to move to some other place from here. Helsinki being the main place, Tampere would be another. But Helsinki, that's where most things happen. And we, just so that I could get to know people a bit better and network, I hate that word, but get contacts and so on, I would move to Helsinki on a part-time basis. Thing is, I got a job. Teaching music. And actually, this is not really a regret. I mean, in a way, I regret that I didn't move, but that was a lucky thing, because I found teaching. I had taught 1 year earlier and didn't really like it because I didn't know what I was doing. And then I taught again and still didn't really like it, didn't really know what I was doing. And then we had our first kid, and that kind of shut the door for me to move to Helsinki. So I kept on teaching, and that way I've learned to love teaching. I like the kids. So in that sense, I don't regret it. But in another sense, I do kind of regret it. But yeah, everything is a trade-off. Don't regret it too much. The moral of the story is actually twofold. If you live in a place where there is nothing going on, moving, if it's a financial possibility, is always an option. Don't be afraid to move just because it's new and scary. I would have had a good network of friends in Helsinki anyway, so it wouldn't have been a big deal, but it might be for someone else. And the teaching job, this is the second moral of the story. You can find meaningful, fulfilling things to do in places where you didn't expect to find them. It took a while for me to find myself as a teacher, but when I did, I talked in a previous video about how to be a successful musician, or whatever it was called, success in the music, yeah, link to that somewhere here. I talked about why I do things and why I have this YouTube channel, why I play guitar, why I teach. They're all the same, to inspire and help people so that they in turn will inspire and help other people. Spreading good vibes. So, yeah, that was kind of a not regret, come to think of it. Number 4 in the Joys division. Playing a festival called Rockfest. We did this with Kilpi, I think the year was 2018, so this was fairly recent. This was actually the last gig I enjoyed that year. It was in early June. We played in Rockfest and we opened for, among others, Ozzy Osbourne. I have a picture somewhere that I took from the stage. If I can find it, here it is. And it was a brilliant experience. I mean, in every single way. I've played to bigger crowds, but that was by far probably the best gig that I've ever done. Not in terms of how well we played or anything, but just the buzz, the whole thing was brilliant. Oddly enough, I didn't enjoy a single gig after that, and probably because I was this close to a burnout, so I slowed down later on that year. But playing Rockfest, that I will never forget. It was absolutely brilliant. Regret number 4. This fairly simple, short, not really anything I can do about it. Or, well, actually, there is something I could have done about it. Remember the thing about me losing sight of my goals and not kind of developing myself? I might have avoided this if I'd actually had a bit of focus. And that's not starting my YouTube channel earlier, or actually getting active on YouTube earlier. I think I started this channel 8 years ago, but I only uploaded a few videos of my songs and that's it. Then I really started doing this 4 years ago, 3 years ago, 3.5, 4, I forget. And this whole thing has gotten so much better. But I do wish that I'd started it earlier, because, yeah, would mean I'd have more subscribers and I would rule the world. Yes. See, I talk about why and all that, but I do care about the numbers as well. Number 5 is one of my joys, probably my biggest joy, and I'll get back to this after my last regret. But number 5 in joys is refinding my focus. But before I talk about that, let me take number 5 in the regrets list, which is thinking someone else would do it for me, or do everything else for me, most things for me. And this was back in the day where I lost my focus. I was kind of banking on someone else will do it. I just play guitar, someone else will sort everything else out. And that's not how it works. Someone else might sort stuff out for you, but let's say you increase your chances of that happening by also you putting in a shift and actually working on whatever it is that you're doing. Other people will be more inclined to help you if you help yourself, and also help other people. I really, yeah, I was I was mostly playing guitar and not enough of that either. So yeah, that's a big regret, that I kind of thought that someone else would sort it out. Yeah, we'll have a record deal, it'll sort itself out. That guy, he'll do that. Yeah, I'll just play guitar. Maybe I was a bit big-headed back then. Maybe I'm now. Who knows? Okay, so back to joy number 5, which is refinding my focus. And that's really been an ongoing process. Back in 2012, I released my first solo album, and yeah, it's been an ongoing thing since then. And the more I think of it, the more I'm of the opinion that playing an instrument, achieving any kind of success, the important thing is really what's between your ears. It's the psychology, it's your attitude and all that. And you need to have goals, you need to enjoy the journey, all of that stuff. You need to not get too downhearted by setbacks. You need to be self-critical, but in a healthy way. So for me, the latest step on this journey is finding my why, to help and inspire others, so that they in turn will help and inspire others. And I mean, I spoke about meeting Yngve and Steve, playing with Steve Vai, and having Sherinian and Eklund on my album, and playing Rockfest, and I have other huge moments in earlier on that could easily have made this list. But the thing that sticks out, or the things that stick out, are these kinds of things. Like I said in the success video, when I got a message from someone back in the MySpace day saying that one of my songs had saved his marriage. Now, I mentioned meeting Yngve and getting a buzz from that, but getting that message from this guy on MySpace in a way means even more to me. It gives me a warm feeling. I've made some kind of a difference. I've managed to help someone, albeit completely by accident. But still, to me, that stuff is worth. I don't even know how to say what it's worth, but it's worth so much. Yeah, the meeting Yngve, playing with Vai and all that, great moments, and still the why, the helping and inspiring others, is more important to me. So I hope you learned something from this video, or got something from this video, found it at least enjoyable. If I can meet my heroes and play with them, and if I can reach 20,000 subscribers on YouTube, and going on to 30 and whatever, you can too. That's not to say it's easy, but you can. I still think that the number one thing holding people back is themselves. So, yes, that's it. If you want to check out some of my music, there's a playlist here somewhere. There is also a playlist with my personal favorites from this channel. So all sorts of stuff, gear reviews and music and all that. So check that out. Click like if you liked the video, comment, let me know what you thought, subscribe if you haven't already, hit that bell notification thing, and like I said, join me on Patreon because you get a bunch of stuff and you can even take it for free. I hope you have a nice day. Hope to see you in another one. Take care. Bye!